So tonight we'll continue with our study of the Bhakti Shastri course, the Nectar of Devotion. And tonight we're going to go through chapter 12. Now, chapter 12 is called The Further Aspects of Transcendental Service. And chapter 12 is speaking about the final 11 items of sadhana bhakti of the 64 that were originally mentioned. So we'll go through, and if you have any questions or comments as we go, then please ask. So the first quality, or the first item which is mentioned, is hearing the revealed scriptures. So the first paragraph says, according to Srila Rupa Goswami, any book which gives enlightenment in the matter of advancing in devotional service is considered to be revealed scripture. Srila Madhvacharya has also defined revealed scriptures as referring to books such as the Ramayana, Mahabharata, Puranas, Upanishads, Vedanta, and any other literature written in pursuance of such revealed scriptures. So we're hearing about these revealed scriptures, which means this is one of the 5 main angas of bhakti. This will be repeated again. That first of all, we have the scriptures such as the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, the Nectar of Devotion, the Nectar of Instruction, all these different Shastras. So this is one of the main ways to advance in Krishna consciousness. One of the principal ways of advancement in our Krishna consciousness is to study the revealed scriptures. Bhagavat Shravan, which means hearing the revealed scriptures. And the more we hear these scriptures, the more we will advance in our Krishna consciousness. So discussing scriptures like the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, they will give us unlimited opportunity to advance. Actually, I was listening today, and one of Prabhupada's disciples was explaining that Prabhupada said that if we only have the Bhagavad Gita, that is enough. He said there is so much in this book, in the Bhagavad Gita. So we don't, technically speaking, we don't need any other book. The Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, these principal scriptures, that is enough to help us advance in Krishna consciousness and to take us back home, back to Godhead. So Rupa Goswami is explaining this is one of the main angas of bhakti, and it's repeated again and again within this list of 64 items. Bhagavat Shravan, which means hearing the Bhagavat, the books which are sacred. Prabhupada then writes, in the Skanda Purana, there is this statement. A person who is constantly engaged in reading literature, enunciating the cultivation of Vaishnava devotional service is always glorious in human society. And certainly Lord Krishna becomes pleased with him. A person who very carefully keeps such literature at home and offers respectful obeisances to it, becomes freed from all sinful reactions and ultimately becomes worshipable by the demigods. So this is interesting because, factually speaking, the Bhagavatam itself says in the first canto and the 3rd chapter that Srimad Bhagavatam, the book, is non-different from Krishna. And Prabhupada actually writes that you will get all the benefit of associating with Krishna by studying the Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? It's exactly the same as associating with Krishna himself. And that's a very powerful statement that Prabhupada makes. So it shows how potent the Bhagavatam is. And if we study the Bhagavatam, it's non-different from associating with Krishna directly. So it is mentioned that we need to study the Bhagavatam, but because the Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna, it can even be worshipped like a deity. Like in your home, you can offer arati to the Bhagavatam. And that's as good as offering arati to the deity, to offering to Krishna himself. You can, it's even mentioned, you can place sandalwood pulp on the Bhagavatam. This is considered to be worship of the Bhagavatam. You can bow down, as it says here, and offer respectful obeisances to the Bhagavatam. That is how we understand the Bhagavatam. It's non-different from Krishna. We have in Vrindavan, when we go to Sanatana Goswami's Samadhi in Vrindavan, which some of you were with me a couple of months ago, actually on Gaurapanim, we went there. And it was also holy on that day in Vrindavan. And we went to Sanatana Goswami's Samadhi. You may remember as we circumambulated the Samadhi pit, all the Samadhis, the tombs of the great predecessor acharyas, the great spiritual teachers from the past. There is one Samadhi there which is called a Grantha Samadhi, which means there are actual Granthas or literatures, Vedic literatures, in our tradition are actually placed within that Samadhi. And we bow down at that place and we beg for mercy, for the compassion of the Shastris which are within that Samadhi to bless us that we will attain transcendental knowledge. That's what I pray whenever I go there. Please reveal to me the secrets of the Gita, the Bhagavatam, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, all of these esoteric and advanced purified scriptures. So it is mentioned that we can worship the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada then says, it is also said to Narada Muni, my dear Narada, a person who writes Vaishnav literature and keeps such literature at home as Lord Narayan always residing within his house. So we know that if you keep the Bhagavatam in your house, most devotees have Bhagavatam in their house, Krishna himself, Narayan himself, is present in your home. And it says, if you write Vaishnav literature, if you receive the instruction from your guru to write Vaishnav literature, spiritual literature, you make great advancement in Krishna consciousness. So these things are mentioned. So just having the Bhagavatam in your home purifies all those who live in the home. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto, 13th chapter, verse 15, it is stated, Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of all Vedanta philosophy. Any person who has become attached in some way or other to the reading of Srimad Bhagavatam cannot have any taste for reading any other literature. In other words, a person who has relished the transcendental bliss of Srimad Bhagavatam cannot be satisfied with mundane writings. So the Bhagavatam itself says, the Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge. Right? It is the essence of all the scriptures. And when you study the Bhagavatam, it says that you will develop such a taste, you won't have a taste for any other literature. In the morning after Mangalati, when we recite the 10 offenses against the holy name, one of the offenses that we recite is to not blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in the pursuance of the Vedic version. So in other words, the writings of the six Goswamis of Vrindavan, Narottama Das Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, by studying these books which come in pursuance of the Vedic version or follow the Srimad Bhagavatam, for example, these literatures which come in the pursuance of the Bhagavatam or the Bhagavatam itself, once you get a taste for these literatures, you'll lose your taste for all other types of katha. So this is the power and the potency of studying the Srimad Bhagavatam, a Bhagavat Shravan. So it's one of the important items of bhakti to hear again and again from the revealed scriptures. The next item is called residing in Mathura, Mathura Vash. This is also one of the most important items of bhakti, and this will actually be repeated again. Interestingly, this particular item, it's same as the previous item. It is mentioned more than once in the list of 64, which shows how important it is. Bhagavat Shravan, hearing Bhagavatam, and Mathura Vas, residing in a holy place like Vrindavan, Mayapur, Puri, Mathura. These are considered extraordinarily powerful items of bhakti. It's actually mentioned these items are so powerful they can develop bhava bhakti, bhava, or spiritual emotion towards Krishna, Radha and Krishna. They can develop this bhava or this sentiment even in a neophyte devotee. That's how powerful these items are. So by hearing Bhagavatam, residing in a holy place like Vrindavan or Mathura, that can bring ecstasy even in a neophyte devotee. That's how powerful these items are. So it says in the Varaha Purana, there is a statement praising the residential quarters of Mathura. Lord Varaha tells the men of earth, any person who becomes attracted to places other than Mathura will certainly be captivated by the illusory energy. In the Brahmanda Purana, it is said that all the results of traveling on all the pilgrimages within the three worlds can be achieved simply by touching the holy land of Mathura. In many Shastras, scriptures, it is said that simply by hearing, remembering, glorifying, desiring, seeing, or touching the land of Mathura, one can achieve all desires. So these are very powerful statements, which gives us an understanding of the glories of the holy places like Vrindavan and Mayapur and Mathura. Any person who becomes attracted to places other than Mathura will certainly be captivated by Maya. So these places, these holy dhams, the reason we visit them, and Prabhupada said we should visit them once a year, the reason we should visit these holy places is because they are our eternal home. That's where the soul eternally resides, right? In Vrindavan Dham, in Mayapur Dham, in Puri Dham. So when we go to these places, the reason is because they enter our consciousness very deeply. I've spent in my life in total probably like 4 years of my life, something around that. I think I worked it out one day. Around about 4 years of my life, my 54 years, have been in the holy dhams, in these holy places. which means that they have entered my consciousness to a great degree. Every day I think about them, these places, because they have an impact on the consciousness. They are our eternal home. And if we want to lose our attraction, our attachment to the material places in this world, we need to cultivate our attachment to these holy places. So they are replicas of the spiritual world. As it says here, by traveling to the holy land of Vrindavan, Mathura, simply by hearing about it, remembering, glorifying, desiring, seeing, or touching, you get the benefit of being in every other holy place. It says all other holy places reside in the holy land of Vrindavan of Mathura. Right? All the millions of other holy places, they reside in that place. So that is the potency. So therefore we should absorb ourselves in those places as much as possible and visit them as much as possible and let them enter our consciousness so we see them as our eternal home, the place where we reside in Krishna's service. So the next item is rendering service to devotees. This one is repeated again in a similar way. They're all repeated in similar ways. This one specifically says rendering service to devotees. Some of the other ones say sadhu sangha, associating with devotees. This says specifically to serve the devotees. In the Padma Purana, there is a nice statement praising the service of the Vaishnavas or devotees. In that scripture, Lord Shiva tells Parvati, "My dear Parvati, there are different methods of worship, and out of all such methods, the worship of the Supreme Person is considered to be the highest. But even higher than the worship of the Lord is the worship of the Lord's devotees." So these are powerful statements. And Krishna says himself to Arjuna in the Adi Purana, "One who says he is my devotee, he is not my devotee. But one who says he is the devotee of my devotee, he is my devotee." So in other words, Krishna receives more pleasure when we serve those who are dear to him, his devotees, than when we directly serve him. So these are very powerful statements. Yeah? So this is a powerful anga of bhakti, to serve the Vaishnava Seva. It's actually one of the key teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to serve devotees of Krishna. A similar statement is in the third canto, 7th chapter, verse 19 of Srimad Bhagavatam. "Let me become a sincere servant of the devotees, because by serving them, one can achieve unalloyed devotional service unto the lotus feet of the Lord. The service of devotees diminishes all miserable material conditions and develops within one a deep devotional love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead." So when we serve the devotees of Krishna, our material miseries become diminished. And we all have that experience, I think, that we know when we serve devotees, we become blissful. Why? Because it gives Krishna pleasure. And when Krishna is satisfied, then we also become satisfied. And it helps us develop a deep devotional love for Krishna. Because when you serve Krishna's devotees, it increases your attachment to Krishna himself. Because you think, well, if the devotees are so wonderful, like today I was explaining to Atulya that I was listening to Prabhupada's disciples speak about Prabhupada. So it's increasing my attachment and my appreciation of Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. So when you hear more about Prabhupada and you become attached to him and you serve him and serve his followers, then automatically you think and you develop more appreciation for Krishna himself, because then you think how wonderful Krishna must be that he can produce a follower like Prabhupada, and how wonderful Prabhupada is, then Krishna must be the most wonderful person. So by serving devotees, it increases our attachment to Krishna himself. Skanda Purana says, persons whose bodies are marked with tilak, symbolizing the conch shell, wheel, club, and lotus, and who keep the leaves of tulsi on their heads, and whose bodies are always decorated with gopi chandan, even seen once, can help the seer to be relieved of all sinful reactions. So even when you just see a devotee, all your sins go far away. And we all have this experience. When you see a purified devotee, your desire for sinful life, it disappears, it dissipates. A similar statement is found in the first canto, 19th chapter, verse 33 of Bhagavatam. There is no doubt about one's becoming freed from all reactions to sinful activities after visiting a devotee or touching his lotus feet or giving him a sitting place. Even by remembering the activities of such a Vaishnava, one becomes purified along with one's whole family. And what then can be said by rendering direct service to him? So when you visit an advanced devotee, you give them a sitting place, you touch their feet, you render menial service, you give them water, whatever the service is, this will purify your consciousness, this will purify your heart. So these items are being discussed in detail to give us appreciation of the anga of bhakti, the limb of bhakti. So then it should increase our desire to serve the devotees. In the Adi Purana, in the following statement by Lord Krishna himself to Arjuna, he says, one who claims to be my devotee is not so. Only a person who claims to be the devotee of my devotee is my devotee. No one can approach Krishna directly. One must approach him through the pure devotees. Yasha prasadad bhagavat prasado yasha prasadan nakatikatopi. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, we sing every morning at Mangalati. You cannot receive the mercy of Krishna, Bhagavat Prasad, unless you get the mercy of the devotees, the spiritual master and the other Vaishnava. When you serve the Vaishnavas, serve the Guru, then you will get the mercy of Krishna. That is the system. Therefore, in the system of Vaishnava activities, the first duty is to accept a devotee as spiritual master and then to render service unto him. Sri Rupa Goswami affirms that all the quotations given in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu from different scriptures are accepted by the great acharyas and devotees of the Lord. So the next item of bhakti is serving the Lord according to one's position. In the Padma Purana, there is a statement that one should perform the ceremonies for the Lord according to one's financial position. Everyone should observe the different ceremonies and celebrations of the Lord by all means. So, if you're a rich person, you should use your wealth to sponsor lavish festivals for the pleasure of Krishna. like where we reside, close to us, is the Melbourne Mahaprabhu Mandir, which is one of the famous temples of Krishna within the ISKCON movement. And one thing which I think makes the temple very special is that there are lavish festivals for the pleasure of the deity. And the festivals are becoming more and more opulent, more and more grand, more and more wonderful as time goes by. I remember 30 years ago, Julian Yatra as an example, it's so much more opulent now. And so, the devotees are just putting more and more bhakti and serving the Lord more beautifully. And Prabhupada actually says, if you serve the deity gorgeously, you will also become gorgeous. Prabhupada says like that. So if you want to become spiritually effulgent and attractive, you have to serve the deities, the forms of Krishna, in that way, with great opulence, with great devotion. And in this way, you will also become purified. Now, the next item of bhakti, it's probably out of the 64, for me, it's definitely one of the most influential on my devotional life. It is performing devotional service in Kartik, which is called Urge of Vrat. This is an extremely powerful item of bhakti. I mean, for me, I would say, coupled with the other powerful items of bhakti, it is probably the most powerful item for myself in terms of helping me to advance in Krishna consciousness. And particularly, it is stated when you perform this vrat, this item of bhakti, in a holy place like Vrindavan or Mayapur, it becomes so much more powerful. And there are many devotees who go to Mayapur and Vrindavan and these holy places during the holy month of Kartik in order to become purified. They perform their vows, their devotional vrats, devotional vows in that time, and has extreme effect, powerful effect on their consciousness. It actually says, there's actually a statement by Jiva Goswami that if you perform some type of Kartik vrat in Vrindavan during Kartik, even if you don't have devotion, you will receive the Lord's personal service. I mean, that's a very powerful statement. That's how powerful it is, being in Vrindavan in Kartik. One of the most important of these ceremonial functions is called Urja Vrata. Urja Vrata is observed in the month of Kartik, October, November, especially in Vrindavan. There is a specific program for temple worship of the Lord in his Damodar form. Damodar refers to Krishna's being bound with rope by his mother Yashoda. It is said that just as Lord Damodar is very dear to his devotees, so the month known as Damodar or Kartik is also very dear to them. So Kartik is extremely dear to the devotees, and it is explained that the month of Kartik is non-different from Srimati Radharani. It is like Radharani in the form of time. Because this time, this month of Kartik, Radharani personally infuses that month with her potency. So any service you render to Krishna during that month, you will get thousands of times more benefit. And I think many of us have experienced that, who have observed vrats and devotional activities during the Kartik months. The execution of devotional service during Urja Vrat in the month of Kartik is especially recommended to be performed at Mathura. This system is still followed by many devotees. They go to Mathura or Vrindavan and stay there during the month of Kartik, specifically to perform devotional services during this period. In the Padma Purana, it is said the Lord may offer liberation or material happiness to a devotee, but after some devotional service has been executed, particularly in Mathura during the month of Kartik, the devotees want only to attain pure devotional service unto the Lord. The purport is that the Lord does not award devotional service to ordinary persons who are not serious about it. But even such unserious persons who execute devotional service according to the regulative principles during the month of Kartik and within the jurisdiction of Mathura are very easily awarded the Lord's personal service. So this shows the power and the potency of this month. The next item is called observing festivals, celebrating the Lord's activities, which is another very powerful item of bhakti. Also one of my favorite items. Sri Jamma Dina Yatra. On the surface, this item may seem almost identical to item number 57, lavishly observing Vaishnav festivals. This item, however, specifically refers to Janmashtami, as can be understood from three sources. Its Sanskrit heading, Sri Jamma Dina Yatra, the title Srila Prabhupada gave it in the 6th chapter. During Janmashtami, one should observe a special festival, and the evidence given in the Bhavishya Purana, my Lord Janardana, Krishna, please let us know the date when your mother Devi gave birth to you. If you kindly inform us about this, then we shall observe a great celebration on this date. O killer of Keshi, we are souls 100% surrendered unto your lotus feet, and we wish only to please you with our ceremonies. So I think all of us can attribute, there are many wonderful festivals in the Vaishnav calendar. That's one of the unique and wonderful features of being a member of the Hare Krishna movement is that, we have so many festivals. We have two festival seasons, major festival seasons. We have Advaita Acharya's appearance, and then Nityananda Prabhu's appearance, and Gaur Purnima. And then not long after that, we have Ramachandra's appearance, and then the Shringadevs, and then there's a gap. And then Chatumashtami begins, and then we have Julan Yatra, Baladev Purnima, Janmashtami, Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja, and then Radhashtami. And then not long after that, then we have Kartik Vrat, in which we have Govardhan Puja, Diwali, Prabhupada's disappearance day. We have so many wonderful festivals, but I think, we have in the middle of the year, we have Snan Yatra and Rath Yatra. But I think there's something very special about Janmashtami. And, I feel that, even some of the other festivals that I very much like. I'm very attached to certain festivals, but Janmashtami just has something about it. It is just a extraordinarily powerful day, purifying day. So we should observe these festivals. It actually says, I was discussing this in class yesterday morning at the temple, that Haridas Thakur says in the Harinam Chintamani, if you are feeling unenthusiastic, which sometimes devotees do in devotional service, if you're feeling unenthusiastic in your bhakti, then you should observe, Haridas Thakur says, observe holy days like Ekadashi and Janmashtami and the other festival days. And if you observe them nicely, and dedicate yourself in service on these days, then you will feel purified, elevated, and you will feel your service become re-enthused. Yeah. So it's that's why, and it actually says we should not neglect these festivals. We should not say, oh, I'm busy or I have something else to do. No. These festivals are necessary for us to observe. We should observe them properly.
And there's special benedictions on those days from the presiding form of the Lord too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, on those particular days, the Lord will give you special reciprocation. So we should not fail to observe these festivals. We should, whenever there's a festival, we should drop everything, and we should observe the festival. Just like on Janmashtami, many of the devotees in Melbourne and around the world, they contact their work and they say, sorry, we're not available. We have some devotees say they're sick and they take sick leave or they take leave. So this is necessary. We have to observe these festivals properly. The next item, it says now we're about to hear the final 5 items. So in the next chapter, we'll hear a separate description of the final 5 items. Rupa Goswami has already listed them as items of sadhana bhakti, but he mentions them here at a second time to emphasize their superlative effectiveness in evoking devotion. So these 5 items, the last 5 items, these are said to be, Lord Chaitanya emphasizes, these are the most powerful and the most important items of bhakti, these last 5 items. They've already been mentioned within the previous 59 items, but they're being repeated again to show their special significance. They are the 5 most important items of bhakti. Previous listings for these items are item 60, serving the deity, was mentioned as item 30, which is archana. Item 61, which is reciting the Bhagavatam amongst devotees, that was mentioned as item 54, hearing the revealed scriptures. Item 62, associating with the devotees, and item 56, rendering service to the devotees, so they're very similar. Item 63, chanting the holy name of the Lord, is similar to item 33, which is Sankirtan, performing congregational chanting. And item 64, residing in Mathura, is virtually the same as item 55, which also says to reside in Mathura. So it appears there are some repetitions here. So this item, which is serving the deity with great devotion. This is Srimurtir Shraddhaya Sevan, which means to worship the deity with great faith. Right? It says here that a person who is constantly engaged in chanting the holy name and who feels transcendental pleasure being engaged in devotional service is certainly awarded the facilities of devotional service and is never given just mukti. So these are, Prabhupada explains, this is called the Bhagavad Vidhi Marg and the Pancharatrika Vidhi Marg, which means the path of hearing and chanting about Krishna, Bhagavad Vidhi Marg, and Pancharatrika Vidimag means the path of deity worship. Now, Prabhupada explains they're like two tracks on which a train runs. You need two tracks. A train doesn't run on one track unless it's a monorail, and then it can. But generally, most vehicles require two tracks. So we need these two, which is deity worship and hearing and chanting about Krishna. You need both of these items in order to advance properly in your Krishna consciousness. Now, the reason we need both is because as neophytes, we can chant the holy name of Krishna, but if we're not purified in our mind and our senses, it'll be hard to fix the mind and the senses on the holy names of Krishna. So therefore, if we perform deity worship, if we worship the deities of Krishna, then that will purify our mind and senses. And then when we chant the holy name of Krishna, we will feel it's much easier to absorb ourselves in the chanting. That's why we need both in order to advance properly in Krishna consciousness. The next item is said to be Bhagavat Shravan, which is recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam among the devotees. So, hearing the Bhagavatam, right, in the association of the devotees. This is mentioned again as an important item of bhakti or a necessary item of bhakti. It says here, Srimad Bhagavatam is the desire tree of Vedic wisdom. Veda itself means the aggregate of knowledge. And whatever knowledge is required for human society is perfectly presented in Srimad Bhagavatam. There are different branches of knowledge in the Vedic writings, including sociology, politics, medicine, and military art. All these and other branches of knowledge are perfectly described in the Vedas. So as far as spiritual knowledge is concerned, that is also perfectly described there. And Srimad Bhagavatam is considered to be the ripened fruit of this desire tree of the Vedas. So it is the essence of the Vedic knowledge, is the ripened fruit. The best part of the tree is the fruit. You know, if you have a mango tree, the best part of the tree is the mango. If you like mangoes, then it's the best. Or you can, any other fruit that you choose. So that is the best part. Now, it describes that the mango becomes sweeter when it's pecked by the parrot. All right, that's well known. The parrot, because what happens, the parrot pecks the fruit then has to heal the wound. It has to send more juice to the fruit to heal the wound. So the fruit actually becomes juicier when it's pecked by the beak of the parrot. So because the Bhagavatam is spoken from the lotus mouth of Shukadev Goswami, the parrot-like Shukadev Goswami, the Bhagavatam becomes even more enriched or even more relishable. Right? So that's the potency of hearing the Bhagavatam. That's why we have to hear the Bhagavatam from advanced devotees. And it actually says that the most important service that you can render to your guru is to hear the Bhagavatam from him. And I explained this, I think I mentioned this several weeks ago. You know, one time I wasn't there for the Bhagavatam class of my guru. And he came in at breakfast time and he was very angry with us for not being at his class. He said, well, actually, Prabhupada said, we can pay people to clean or to do other services. We can't pay people to hear the Bhagavatam. So that is the most important service that you can render to the Guru. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended that one learn Bhagavatam from the mouth of a self-realized person called Bhagavatam. Bhagavat means in relation with the personality of Godhead. So a devotee is also called the Bhagavatam sometimes. And the book, which is in relation with devotional service to the Supreme Lord, is also called the Bhagavatam. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, as we hear in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself would hear the Bhagavatam from the lotus mouth of Gadadhar Pandit. So the next item of bhakti is called associating with advanced devotees, right? Now, Jiva Goswami, Prabhupada writes it like that, translates it like associating with advanced devotees. And Jiva Goswami particularly makes this point. Sadhu Sangha, or associating with the devotees, Jiva Goswami points out it especially means advanced devotees. We have to get the association of advanced devotees. So whenever there are advanced devotees in our proximity, we must associate with them. We have to make it a point to find advanced devotees, advanced Vaishnavas, and take their association. Right? That's how we will advance in our Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, very difficult to make advancement in your Krishna consciousness. In the Hari Bhakti Shuddhodaya, there is a conversation between Prahlad Maharaj and his father, Hiranyakashipu, in which Hiranyakashipu addresses Prahlad in this way: "My dear son, association is very important." Normally we don't quote Hiranyakashipu, but in this case we do. It acts just like a crystal, which reflects that which you put before it. So if you associate with advanced devotees, their association will influence your consciousness, color your consciousness, and you will also gradually, by their association, become an advanced devotee. And Prabhupada explains that if you associate with people attached to the material energy, to women and to wealth, to the opposite sex and to wealth, you will also become materialistic in your consciousness. So we have to be very careful, particularly of social media and the internet, because now there is so much materialistic association available on our electronic devices that we can easily take the association of non-devotees, materialistic people, and that will affect our consciousness. So we have to be very careful to choose the right association so that we become purified and we advance in our Krishna consciousness. The next item is chanting the holy name of the Lord. Nama Sankirtan. So this item, number 63, it is similar to item 32 and item 33, which is one must sing. 33 is one must perform Sankirtan, and 34 is one must chant. So 63 is distinguished from the others as follows. Item 32, Gitam, refers to singing, songs written in glorification of the Lord. Item 33, Sankirtan, refers to congregational chanting of the Lord's name, pastimes, and qualities. And item 34, Japa, refers to quiet recitation of mantras. Item 63 refers exclusively to the paramount importance of congregationally chanting the Lord's holy name. So This is the Yuga Dharma, Harinam Sankirtan. This is the process which is encouraged or recommended by the Bhagavatam itself. Sri Harinam Sankirtan. Right? That we develop an attachment to Sankirtan, right? Congregational chanting of the holy name of Krishna, which is the Yuga Dharma, with other devotees. This is how we advanced most rapidly in devotional service, absorbing ourselves in Sankirtan. Chaitanya, at the bottom of page 107, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended that everyone chant the Hare Krishna mantra just to cleanse the dust from the heart. If the dust of the heart is cleansed away, then one can actually understand the importance of the holy name. For persons who are not inclined to clean the dust from their hearts and who want to keep things as they are, it is not possible to derive the transcendental result of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. One should therefore be encouraged to develop his service attitude toward the Lord, because this will help him to chant without any offense. And so, under the guidance of a spiritual master, the disciple is trained to render service and at the same time chant the Hare Krishna mantra. As soon as one develops his spontaneous service attitude, he can immediately understand the transcendental nature of the holy names of the Maha Mantra. So, Prabhupada actually writes that in terms of understanding our swarup, which means our constitutional position in relation to Krishna, we will all understand this. Prabhupada says, by chanting Hare Krishna, by chanting the Maha Mantra, Prabhupada says, while chanting the Maha Mantra, the Guru will reveal your constitutional position in relationship to Krishna within your heart while chanting. So that is the process of how to become self-realized, how to become fully Krishna conscious. Right? And Prabhupada says, as soon as we develop a spontaneous service attitude, then we can immediately understand the transcendental nature of the holy names. This means we'll understand the holy name is non-different from Krishna. That when we chant the holy name, Radha and Krishna are dancing on our tongue. The final item. The final item is Mathura. Now, the previous item was residing Mathura or visiting Mathura, visiting Vrindavan. This item, Mathura Vash, which is the final item, means to live there permanently, which is something we could aspire to live there. But one would have to be very advanced in Krishna consciousness, because physically and mentally, it's not easy to reside in modern day Vrindavan and Mathura. Right? It's not easy. And actually, Prabhupada says, because these projects which Prabhupada has established in the world, like Melbourne Mahaprabhu Mandir, like New Govardhan, like Hare Krishna Valley, they are said to be replicas or embassies of those original places. There's even a place where Prabhupada says they are better, because Prabhupada explains you don't have pollution and you don't have materialistic pandas and so forth. No politics, no pandas, no monkeys. You don't have these material distractions which you can get in the modern day holy dhams. So Prabhupada actually says, there's a place where he says that these places that he's created around the world are actually better. Yeah, than Bhakti Tirtha Swami himself, to exemplify or to display to us or show us that these places like Gitanagari and New Vrindavan and so forth are non-different from the original holy dham. He chose to leave his body in Gitanagari, which is one of the replica places. He could have traveled back, as Sridhar Swami and others did, to the original place, which is not wrong, because Prabhupada himself went back to Vrindavan when he understood he was not feeling well. But Bhakti Tirtha Swami wanted to show an example that these places are non-different. And my good friend Dandakaranya Prabhu, I was speaking to him yesterday. He actually just sent me a message while we were giving class. He's in Sweden at the BBT headquarters in Europe. And he was explaining to me, it feels non-different from, he said it's a very holy place. It has great spiritual power and energy. So we should understand that these places, they have great spiritual power and energy. So we're very fortunate if we get to actually live in one of these places, one of these projects that Prabhupada has established around the world. And we're extremely fortunate if we get to reside in Vrindavan itself, or Mayapur or Puri itself. In the Padma Purana, there is a statement about the importance of living at holy places like Mathura or Dwarka. It is stated there, to travel to different places of pilgrimage means to attain emancipation from material bondage. This emancipation, however, is not the highest perfectional stage. After attaining this liberated stage, one has to become engaged in devotional service to the Lord. After attainment to the Brahma Bhuta liberation stage, one can further advance to engagement in devotional service. So this attainment of transcendental loving devotional service to the Lord is the goal of life, and it can be achieved very easily for one who lives in Mathura Mandala, even for a few seconds. That's an amazing comment by Prabhupada, even for a few seconds. Sometimes I think when I'm in Vrindavan, I see a plane fly overhead. They're technically flying through Vrindavan. I think to myself, these people must be getting purified, even though they don't know it. But just for those moments that they fly through the sacred atmosphere of Vrindavan, people become purified. And then Prabhupada finishes the chapter by saying, it is further said, who is that person who will not agree to worship the land of Mathura? Mathura can deliver all the desires and ambitions of the fruitive workers and the salvationists who desire to become one with Brahman. Certainly Mathura will deliver the desires of the devotees who simply aspire to be engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. In the Vedic literature, it is also stated how wonderful it is that simply by residing in Mathura, even for one day, one can achieve a transcendental loving attitude toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This land of Mathura must be more glorious than Vaikuntha Dham, the kingdom of God. So I've had that experience. I've seen people who are not devotees, practicing devotees, come to Vrindavan, and we see the profound change in them while they're residing in that holy place. So we can't reconcile how powerful these places are. So we'll finish there for tonight, and there won't be a class next week. Next week, Atoya and I will be having a break. So there's no class next week. We'll resume on the following Wednesday. So 1 week break, and then the week after we'll have another class. So thank you all for coming, and we'll see you soon. Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hare
Hare Bol.
Bol.